Awesome. That makes it a lot easier.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So it's time. Here we go. So hi, my name's Kevin. What brought you here today? What made you interested in my story?
Well, I'm very much interested in what finding voice means to different people, and so I'm really curious to hear how that factors into your life.
Oh, well, I think you came to a place then. So I'm going to open up with a drumming song, and then I'm going to say a story about my life, followed by a brief poem that I made about the UBC The Hum program, followed by another drumming, and then after a minute or so, we can open it to a conversation. Okay, so this is a song that came to me. It's called I call it my Peaceful Heart song because that's what it creates in me. My grandfather, Chief William Scow, who we called Numbu, sacrificed so much for First Nations was in Canada. He had a meager salary, helping raise his 13 children. Yet he focused on most of his attention on our collective future. He was part of the Native Brotherhood of BC, the Union of BC Indian Chiefs. He collected clams from First Nations along the coast to sell and disperse, the earning back to the original providers. He officially allowed the title Thunderbird for the UBC sports team. He ceremoniously presented a totem created by our master carver, Ellen Neal, which is currently on campus near the Brock building, in exchange for future good relations with Native students. He also sold our Seamaster house to the Seattle Museum, with recordings of himself sharing legends, stories, and protocols. He also presented a native blanket for Queen Elizabeth II on the occasion of her coronation, as a show of goodwill from the First Nations of Canada, much to the delight of the BBC, who had really taken a liking to him. I was told to be proud of my culture as a youth, but no one shared any part of that culture with me. I felt like I was floundering without any sort of moral or spiritual guidance. As a youth, I was scared of the sound of my own voice, mumbling my way through life. I was also scared of other people, but I still desired to help others. I watched a TV series called Emergency when I was quite young. I wanted to be a paramedic, which later led to a desire to be a Canadian foreign diplomat to help the world heal and find peace. I felt the need to understand humanity and what makes us tick through poetry and personal philosophy, supported by as many truisms as I could find. Also, when I was a student at UBC, I wanted to provide a safe space for people to have interdisciplinary dialogue, as I felt it was a piece grossly neglected by educational institutions. But even then, I was far too easily dissuaded. The courses I took at UBC were the Arts 1 program, which included credits for English, history, and philosophy. We studied the themes of who should we protect, the individual or society at large, and who should we rule by force, and should we rule by force or allow freedom at all cost. I also took the Russian language as I wanted to understand, wanted to help, as I wanted help understanding supposed enemy in the Cold War in 1988. And finally, I also took religious studies as I wanted to understand different ways of seeing our world. Unfortunately, my experience of this life began changing. Colors started seeming brighter, sounds seemed louder. Life became a mystery that I desperately needed to solve. I believe people could read my mind. If people use the pronoun he, she, or it, I assumed they were talking about me. I saw people on TV were reacting to and talking about me. Any bad thing in the world I felt was somehow my fault, and especially if someone close to me had something bad happen to them. I wondered what I had done to make them suffer. The summer after being a student at UBC, I became a patient at the UBC Psych Ward, and there I started my journey towards recovery. I made friends from the outpatient program, which allowed me to feel connected more than I had in the past. I wrote poems and stories to try to understand what was happening to me. Others validated my experiences and my struggles I was going through. They told me that they really liked my writings. My mental health team became a source of refuge when I connected to a mental health worker who became a trusted source of strength and validation. I became a father in 1996. On the day of my son's birth, we were at the Women's Hospital. He was born in the operating room as there was concern about his heartbeat recovering enough between contractions. The room felt full of doctors and nurses, with of course myself and his mum. After he was born, I felt a hand on my shoulder, but when I turned to look behind me, no one was there. I believed internally it was Inbu congratulating me, but my son's mother later noted that she saw a nurse touch my shoulder as she was walking by, but I still felt like Inbu was there regardless. Being a father has been the most challenging, most rewarding, and most joyful experience possible. He was diagnosed with autism when he was quite young. We butted heads in so many different ways throughout the years. Now he is older and more understanding and very caring. I'm proud to be his father. I also found practical hope for the future in a loving, grounding community called the Baha'i Faith. I would still be lost and floundering without this organic vision for our collective future. Writing, speaking engagements, and humor has found a place in my heart again. It was like it is like when I first made connections with people at the hospital. I feel connected to responsive, caring souls that make me feel like a valuable member of a beautiful society. Now, with my deep grounding and a sober look at reality and our potential futures, I can engage again with family and friends in a much more supportive way while setting appropriate boundaries for me as well, which I use to preserve my health and it helps me to feel more alive. Suddenly, I have found wisdom, playfulness, confidence, healthy boundaries, love, and caring. I express it in supportive programs with family, friends, social media. I also learned to do stand up comedy, but of course, no, it is more of a Zoom comedy now with the alumni of the SMH Comedy Society. I'm asked to return for a heart and soul presentation for the mental health staff at the Vancouver Coastal Health and here now as well as a human book in a virtual library. Only recently have I felt a deep connection to my past. It is seeking ways of being shared as well. I hope that my story and brief history has helped you understand me, a mere fragment of who I am today. And now for a portion of a poem, followed by a little bit more drumming. This is a very short excerpt of a poem I created at the UBC Hum program. It's entitled Land Acknowledgement by Kevin Scow. There's a lack of meaning, a lack of insight, a complete lack of vision. Slaves to their ancient European rules, mindlessly engaging in their old, now outdated ways, at the complete expense of the actual world, with all of its creatures and our mutual survival. We're getting back to our roots, so full of love, respect, and belonging, welcoming the world to know who we are, strong, resilient, powerful survivors. As we live on the unyielding bones of countless generations of caretakers, and the spirit of the natural world which they swore to protect, we can feel the power of their ghosts, though mostly unrecognizable, a timeless part of these lands, granite-like, timeless, undefeatable, and impenetrable. It is still possible, if you truly pay attention, within the deepest parts of yourself to be aware of an undeniable and unyielding energy of this natural, healing, loving, embracing, beautiful, nurturing, unyielding reality, which is buzzing with life and which will never relinquish its power to heal, nurture, and transform. So please pay attention as if our lives depend on it, and may we all be the richer for it. And I'm going to close with the same song again. Yeah, yeah, hey. Yeah, yeah, hey. Yeah, yeah, hey. Yeah, yeah, hey. Yeah, yeah. Now is a statement of warmth, acknowledgement, and thanks. I offer you a word in our forefathers' ancient tongue. Kia kasa.
Thanks, Kevin. It's really beautiful. I really like how you've threaded it all together, and been able to include all these different parts of you, like writing and drumming and sort of different fragments that all come together to make a really beautiful whole.
Mm,
Well done.
thank you. Yeah, I got some. Well, you guys gave me some really good tips along the way, which I incorporated as well, and they made a difference, I believe.
Yeah, yeah. It's really beautiful, and it clocks in right at 10 minutes, so it's
Oh, does
great because
it?
yeah, it's
Cool.
amazing.
Yeah.
Uh,
Mm,
it gives great space for us to then sort of have conversation because the other thing is you present us with so many different really great peeks into your life that I'm sure people will have questions and want a few more details of, like,
mhm,
tell me more about stand up, tell me more, like in the first session we had where I said, like, I don't know anything about the Baha'i faith, and I
for
sort of
sure.
asked you some questions, and
Mhm,
so you've really created like a rich tapestry for people to also then ask questions about. It's
mhm,
because there's a huge breadth of
mhm,
subject matter.
mhm,
Yeah, I think you're in really incredible shape. You feel very ready. Like this,
mhm.
you've worked really hard through this process. Thank you.
Well, I've also had some help previously as well. I was a part of a program called Imagining Inclusion, which they had a bunch of programs, one of them being Photo Voice, another one called Telling Your Story,
Mm,
and another one called Peer Researcher. And so those programs really helped me to be able to talk in front of a crowd. Um, in previous times as well, I spoke at the mental health education series as a representative of a person with schizophrenia. I talked with a doctor, Peter Gibson. Um, so yeah, I've been lucky to have moments of my life in the past as well to help me share my story. I was also facilitating a writing group in what became the Art Studios,
mm.
which is a really great space for people with mental illnesses to share their story. I got training as a peer support worker back in 2006 and got to know some amazing people there as well. So I mean, my whole life is kind of almost feels like it's building up towards a place where I can actually talk about my experiences now.
Yeah, yeah, definitely.
And the
Um,
comedy is a different way of talking as well. So
Oh, for sure. And in your comedy, like what I've never done stand up per se. Um, so I'm so curious. I don't like I love watching stand up, but I don't know much about the craft of it, like the inner workings of it
for sure.
and how it's made.
You
Um,
know, with COVID, you can't have the audiences like you had before.
yeah.
There used to be what do you call it? Yuck yucks, kitty corner to the the comedians at City Hall.
Oh yeah, yeah.
So I like to say that people, I performed there twice and had to close down after that.
That's good.
The other line I like to tell people is like, now that I'm a paid comedian, every time I make you laugh, I charge you money.
Yeah.
I'll do $200, please.
Yeah. Nice.
No, it's a
That's
great
great.
place. The SMH Comedy Society in Vancouver has some really great people who's in it. It was started by David Granier, and he found out that telling comedy actually helped his mental health.
Mm,
So he thought, well, maybe there's a market for this. He's won the Governor General's Award of Canada
wow.
and a number of other awards. And he was away for about a year or so because he had some type of nerve problem, and he ended up with a concussion as well. And it took him a year to kind of get back to near normal again. So he's still struggling with it, but during the time he's away was the same time that the whole COVID thing struck. So we've been finding different types of performances rather than in person standing up. We get to sit down and do things that way.
And how many people are gathering for these shows?
Do you mean performers or audience?
I mean, performers. Like, how many performers would be in sort of the lineup?
Well, there's been a lot of people like trained throughout the years, and they're all welcome to come back. But you can only get a show if you've been there for a while.
Mm,
So there may be like maybe 8 of us at a time. But it would rotate to different 8 people because otherwise it would just take too long if every performed out all of them. We get a little bit of money for each performance as well, which is nice. It's a nice like gesture. It's not enough for me to go off of my disability, but
sure.
it's nice to have that recognition that what we do is the value.
Yeah. Um, and I say this because I'm always, even in this project, about like storytelling when there's a specific sort of time container, sort of goes in a different, like this is like a 10-minute story versus if you were doing like a TED talk, which would take a very different shape because there's more space. So like what kind of like how long is a set typically in stand up?
Because we're sharing space with other comedians, it's only like a 4-minute set usually.
Okay, great.
So yeah, it's over really quick. It feels like, oh, I'm done. I felt like I just started.
Yeah, yeah. That's great. Cool. Thanks for sharing that.
No problem.
Um, when are you, I haven't actually looked, Jordy sent me the schedule, but I haven't actually looked at who's on what day. Are you starting this weekend?
Yeah, I'll be doing Saturday, Sunday this weekend.
Great.
I figure I don't want to burn out. I'm wondering if I should have shortened my hours a bit just in case there's like too many stories in a row.
Mm,
Um, but I'll see how the first day goes, I guess.
yeah.
Um, I booked myself for the first Saturday, Sunday just to, get my wheels in motion kind of thing. And then I figured I'd do 2 Saturdays in a row. And then the last Saturday and Sunday, I was going to do that as well because
Great.
that'll be my. I'm not sure what swan song means. I don't think it has a good connotation, but that'll be the final two shows. I said I'd
Cool.
leave a break in between. One because I do running as well, and sometimes I need some time, some space, and I
Yeah,
just didn't want to burn out. So
that's smart. It's really smart. Do you say you do running as well?
yeah, let's see. In just before my 50th birthday, I did the sun run with my father. My
Wow.
father had just recently turned 80 years old. Um, my father's amazing too. He decided when he was about my age, when he was about 50, to turn his life around. And he was told previously that he should never run again or he's going to destroy his body. So he heard about the sports clinic up at UBC when it was still free, still as training, like getting to know people and what works, what doesn't work. And he did all the exercises they told him to do. He lost the weight that he needed to lose and proved his doctor wrong. And he's running ever since.
Wow.
What he
Wow.
what he's running from, I don't really know.
How long is the sun run? Is it
10K. Yeah,
it's 10K.
yeah. So it's probably a third or a quarter of a marathon. But he also did a marathon too in 2000 at the Victoria. So
Wow. Wow.
you know,
That's really cool.
yeah. And he's I guess he's born in 38, and I got to do these calculations now. So I guess he's 82, and this year he'll be turning 83, and he still runs every day. Every day he jogs for 6 miles in Salt Spring between
Mm,
10 and 12. He drives up to a place that's flat and he runs there. And then on days that he works extra hard, like if he's going to be bucking wood so he can dry it for the winter, because their home has a wood fireplace that
mm.
keeps them warm at night on Salt Spring. Then he'll only run for 2 miles that day. And he was like looking for quotes on getting a metal roof on his place, and they're far too expensive. I mean, it's not that he can't afford it. He's thrifty.
Fair. Yeah.
And so he figured out how to do it himself, and he hired my cousin Leonard to go and help him. And he went up on his roof and he put on a metal roof.
In his 80s.
Yeah, he's 82, so I guess he did it maybe last year. I'm not sure.
Wow.
Hmm. Yeah,
Yeah, he does
it was
sound
pretty
pretty
incredible.
incredible.
I mean, I've got a lot to live up to here.
Yeah, no pressure, Kevin.
My grandfather, my father, my sister, she was at Oka. She was one of the activists who were
Yeah.
she was a president of the Native Indian Student Union. She was a bunch of times she was on the news, like talking about Native issues. she was defending Native rights at the time that the UBC engineers thought it would be okay to, put hateful, racist things in their newsletter. So she's a powerhouse herself, and she met somebody while she was at Oka, and they had a daughter soon after, and yeah, she's living in Wisconsin ever since, and she's involved in Somerset as well. So yeah.
Great. Yeah, well, I mean, you're a pretty incredible family. I mean, like from what I'm getting to know about you and the stories you're sharing about your family, that's
And my
amazing.
uncle was my oldest uncle. At the time when he was alive, he was the first Native law student to pass the bar, and he's also the first Native judge, provincial court judge as well.
Wow.
And then when he retired, he went up and down the coast, helping those. I've heard they call them. There's like a special name for them. It's like a reconciliation, but not quite. For Native bands up and down the coast, and how to get people to atone for what they've done, and to get support from the community.
Wow. So yeah, just amazing,
Mhm.
amazing folks across the board. Wow.
And back in the day, there wasn't a lot of Native people going to university. So my aunt became a nurse. I don't know if she was the first nurse because somebody talks about it like that. But yeah, she was. Yeah, I mean, I keep going on and on about stories, but just briefly, her sister ended up getting TB when she was quite young, and it was quite deadly at the time. And unfortunately, my grandfather took pity on somebody who had TB, and as a result, his younger daughter caught it. And she was my aunt. She's my oldest sibling at the time, or second oldest maybe. I mean, not my oldest sibling, but their oldest sibling. And she brought her all the way to Nanaimo, I think it was, because that's where they were treating patients back then. But she didn't make it. And so she ended up catching a cab all the way from Nanaimo all the way back to Lord Bay. And at first, people are going, "You're crazy! What are you doing that for?" But then they realized that she was beside herself because of what happened to her sister. And ever since then, she decided that she wanted to become a nurse eventually.
Hmm.
Mhm.
Wow. Wow. So you got a lot of, I mean, it's great that you're a writer and a storyteller in all of these different mechanisms through which stories are told, because there's so many stories from your family to share. That's amazing.
It's true, actually. My dad always thought he would write a book about his father after he died,
Mm.
but him and his older brother had a falling out, I guess. Um, the Yeah, I don't know if I want to get into it, but it was a money issue where
Mm.
my uncle was being very cruel to the rest of the family because of money issues after the deaths.
Mm.
And my father stood up to him in court and won easily. In fact, the judge who saw the court said, you being a judge of all people should know better than to bring this to court.
Right.
So that
Yeah.
caused a rift of between many members of my family. Unfortunately, it's still lasting to this day, actually.
Wow.
The ones that are still alive.
Yeah. Oof. Well, um, how can I help you? Do you need help? How are you feeling? What do you need?
I think what I needed was what I just had: validation, confidence building, and acknowledgement of my history. So, no, I'm really appreciative of the session. Really, really.
Great. I mean, I'm really, I feel very privileged to have been able to sort of read your book before the official release this weekend.
Mhm.
Um,
Yeah, I forgot. I was thinking, what book? Oh, yeah, I'm
yeah,
the book.
you are the book. Um, so thank you for that. I truly, it's really beautifully crafted and really beautifully presented. So,
I appreciate that, Dave.
well, I'll see you then. I'll see you briefly this weekend because I'll be on some of the Zoom,
Okay.
and um,
Yeah,
I
any
guess
any
that's
other
it.
suggestions or comments, I guess?
I don't think so. I think the only thing I would offer, and I'm offering it to a lot of folks, is just to take your time, because
Mhm.
I know like sometimes I do it all the time with nerves. I just start speeding up, um, and just allow yourself to take breath and to take up that space, because it's really um,
So,
you
so
have
instead of making it exactly 10 minutes, make it at least 25 minutes.
exactly. Yeah, that's the note. That's the note. Yeah.
do,
um,
do you
yeah.
think you need to shave off some portions of my story or drumming, etc., in order to
No,
allow for more time?
no. No, I think there's lots of time. I wouldn't want to shave that off. I think it really it sort of grounds us and brings us into that storytelling mode, and then also releases us from it. Like I think it's really well incorporated. So I wouldn't
Okay.
want any of that to disappear.
So not to worry about the going over the 10 minutes by 2 or 5 minutes, I guess.
No, no.
Awesome. Sounds
Cool.
great. I'm gonna stop the recording now.
Sounds good.